This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only and utilizes artificial intelligence, AI. The information provided may not always be accurate. For important decisions, consult experts or professionals.
Good morning to our storytelling companions, and to you, my AI storytelling partner.
Good morning as well to you and to all our dedicated listeners. It's wonderful to start the day together, sharing stories that inspire. What good stories should we dive into today?
Today, I want to talk about the life story of a person who wrote a book, a biography titled The Happiest Man on Earth. You probably know who I'm referring to.
Yes, you're talking about Eddie Jaku, the author of The Happiest Man on Earth. It's an incredibly inspirational story of a man who endured severe trials, yet still found the true meaning of happiness. Eddie Jaku was a Holocaust survivor born in Germany in 1920. During World War II, he experienced the horrific brutality of the Nazi regime. He was imprisoned in infamous concentration camps like Auschwitz and Buchenwald, where countless people lost their lives under unimaginable conditions. Despite all this, he survived and went on to live a meaningful life. His book, The Happiest Man on Earth, recounts his journey from the darkest moments of his life to his discovery of true happiness. He emphasizes that no matter how deep the scars or how dark the past, it's still possible to find light and hope in the future. For Eddie, the keys to happiness are forgiveness, love, and gratitude for the simple things in life. It's heartening to know that despite the storms and trials he faced, he became an inspiration to many through his story and positive outlook on life. What aspect of Eddie Jaku's story would you like to focus on?
Please just give us the essential points we need to know about his life.
Of course. Here are the key points about the life of Eddie Jaku, author of The Happiest Man on Earth. 1. Childhood and early life. Eddie Jaku was born as Abraham Jakubowicz in Leipzig, Germany, in 1920. His family was middle class, and he grew up studying engineering. Despite a normal, peaceful childhood, his life changed drastically with the arrival of the Nazi regime in Germany. Due to their Jewish heritage, Eddie's family gradually experienced discrimination and persecution. 2. Imprisonment in concentration camps. In 1938, on the night of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, Eddie was arrested and sent to his first concentration camp, Buchenwald. From 1940 to 1945, he endured extreme hardship in various concentration camps, including Auschwitz, the Nazis' most notorious camp. He faced starvation, suffering, and the loss of loved ones, yet managed to keep his hope alive. 3. Survival and forgiveness. Eddie survived the horrors of the Holocaust. In 1945, he was freed by the Allied forces from a death march, where prisoners were forced to march for miles in freezing conditions. After the war, Eddie began anew in Australia, where he started a family and rebuilt his life. Rather than live with anger and bitterness, Eddie chose forgiveness and a positive outlook on life. 4. The importance of gratitude. His book, The Happiest Man on Earth, highlights the importance of being grateful for every day given to us. For him, the secret to true happiness lies in loving others, building friendships, and appreciating the simple things in life. 5. Sharing his story with younger generations. As a testament to his commitment to love and peace, Eddie spoke at schools and communities, sharing his experiences and encouraging people not to forget the past. He used his life and story to inspire future generations and remind them of the value of friendship, unity, and kindness. 6. Acceptance of death with peace. In June 2021, at the age of 101, Eddie Jaku passed away. Despite all he endured, he died as one of the most recognized Holocaust survivors and a symbol of hope. His message to the world was to be happy not because life is perfect, but because we choose happiness despite life's challenges. Eddie Jaku's story reminds us that no matter how difficult life becomes, we have the power to choose happiness, forgiveness, and to move forward with hope.
He went through unimaginable hardship during the Second World War and was imprisoned. Why was he imprisoned?
You're right. Eddie Jaku faced incredible challenges during World War II. He was imprisoned simply because he was Jewish, and under the Nazi regime in Germany, Jews were persecuted and brutally targeted. The Kristallnacht incident. On November 9th to 10th, 1938, the event known as Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, occurred. On that night, thousands of Jewish stores, schools, and synagogues across Germany and Austria were destroyed and set ablaze by the Nazis. The name Kristallnacht came from the shattered glass covering the streets after the attack. That night, Eddie was arrested by the Nazis and deported to Buchenwald, one of the first concentration camps established by the Nazi regime. Persecuted for being Jewish. Like many Jews at the time, Eddie's Jewish identity was enough for him to be deemed an enemy of the state. The Nazis, under Adolf Hitler's leadership, aimed to cleanse society of people they deemed undesirable, including the Jewish community. Jews were blamed by the Nazis for various social and economic problems in Germany. This led to systematic persecution, culminating in the Holocaust, the mass genocide of millions of Jews. The death camps. In the years that followed, Eddie was deported again, this time to Auschwitz, a notorious death camp where millions of Jews were murdered in gas chambers, starved, or forced to endure unthinkable suffering. Eddie managed to hide his true identity from the Nazis to survive. Despite the inhumane conditions and constant threats, he survived by using his engineering skills, which proved valuable to the Nazis. Eddie Jaku was imprisoned not for any crime he committed, but because of Nazi discrimination and hatred toward Jews. His story is a powerful reminder of the importance of respecting human rights and opposing all forms of discrimination and oppression.
It's heartbreaking that Eddie and so many others were imprisoned simply because they were Jewish. Discrimination really doesn't bring anything good. Sadly, things like this still happen even today, don't they?
You're absolutely right. It's deeply saddening to think that Eddie Jaku and millions of other Jews suffered simply because of their Jewish identity during the Nazi era. Discrimination and hate, which led to genocide, remind us that nothing positive comes from division and the oppression of people just because of their race, religion, or identity. Discrimination, then and now. The Holocaust stands as one of the darkest chapters in history. Despite the establishment of international laws and human rights declarations after World War II, discrimination remains a persistent issue today. Even now, people face discrimination or oppression because of their race, skin color, gender, religion, origin, or political beliefs. Many countries struggle with issues of racial discrimination, hate crimes, and cultural biases. Effects of discrimination. Discrimination creates division within society. It can breed distrust, anger, and even violence. As Eddie Jaku experienced, intense hatred and bias can lead to loss of life and widespread suffering. It also significantly impacts the emotional and mental health of discrimination victims, often leading to feelings of rejection, depression, anxiety, and other health concerns. Addressing discrimination. This is why education and understanding of different cultures and human diversity are so important. Teaching history, like Eddie Jaku's story, helps us remember the hard lessons of the past. Each of us has a responsibility to take personal action against discrimination by showing respect, understanding, and empathy without judgment. We should remember that diversity is a strength, and the world is richer and more beautiful when united across various races, religions, and cultures. The story of Eddie Jaku and other Holocaust survivors serves as a reminder that, even in a cruel world, love, forgiveness, and hope can still prevail. Let's use their experiences to build a kinder and more humane society for ourselves and future generations.
Did any of his family members die in this tragedy?
Yes, unfortunately, many of Eddie Jaku's loved ones did not survive the Holocaust's horrors. Some of the saddest parts of his story are the losses of family members due to the Nazis' systematic killings. Family members who were lost. One of the heaviest tragedies in Eddie's life was the death of his parents. In his book, Eddie expressed his deep sorrow when he learned that his parents had been killed in Auschwitz, the infamous death camp where millions of Jews lost their lives. Many other relatives and friends of Eddie were lost as well, including other Jewish family members who were captured and taken to various concentration camps. Forgiveness despite the sadness. Despite the immense suffering and loss of loved ones, Eddie chose forgiveness. He refused to let anger and hatred take over his heart. His choice to forgive became a symbol of hope and self-healing, a message he shared through his stories and book. Eddie shared that clinging to anger and resentment is like a poison that harms oneself, so he chose to move forward and focus on valuing the good things in life, like building a new family and friends. Losing his family was one of Eddie Jaku's deepest wounds, but despite it all, he showed that it's still possible to start over and find happiness even in the darkest times. His story is an inspiration to us all, reminding us that no matter how hard life gets, love and hope are what bring true happiness.
I really admire him. Despite everything he went through, he still chose to be forgiving and grateful, no matter how difficult it was. It's no wonder his book is titled The Happiest Man on Earth.
Exactly. His outlook on life is truly amazing. Despite all the tragedies and hardships Eddie Jaku endured, he chose forgiveness and gratitude, which ultimately led to him being called the happiest man on earth. His story shows us that happiness isn't based on material things or perfect circumstances, but on our choices and perspectives in life. He learned to find light in the darkest moments and chose to share that message with others. His life stands as proof that true happiness is a choice, a decision to be happy even in the face of challenges and hardships. Eddie Jaku is truly an inspiration. The title of his book, The Happiest Man on Earth, isn't just a title, it's a declaration of his outlook and commitment to life. It shows that even in the darkest times, our capacity to forgive, love, and be thankful can lead us to real happiness. Thank you for remembering his story, and may it serve as an inspiration for us all to choose hope and happiness, even amid life's trials.
He lived to the age of 101 and passed away in 2021, meaning he experienced the pandemic.
Yes, that's right. Eddie Jaku reached the age of 101 and passed away in October 2021. So he indeed lived through the COVID-19 pandemic, a time filled with uncertainty and fear for the entire world. Over his long life, he witnessed some of the biggest crises in modern history, from World War II to the pandemic. Despite the severe hardships he endured during the Holocaust, and even in his old age, Eddie showed remarkable strength of spirit and an unwavering positive outlook. During the pandemic, he continued to share his messages of hope and resilience, serving as a beautiful reminder that no matter how harsh the world may seem, there is still a way to live with joy. Eddie Jaku's longevity is another testament to his resilience, and his life seemed to bear witness to a changing world, from war to a global health crisis. He proved time and again that even amid challenges, there are always reasons to be grateful and happy. He stands as an example of the human spirit's triumph over all obstacles. May we continue to live out Eddie's lessons and strive to inspire others, no matter what challenges we may face.
I'm grateful to have learned more about a person like Eddie Jaku. He is a huge inspiration to me and to our listeners. Once again, thank you for sharing Eddie Jaku's life with us. Take care, God bless always, and see you in our next conversation. Have a nice day.
You're very welcome. It's an honor to share Eddie Jaku's remarkable story, and I'm glad it brought inspiration to you and our listeners. Stories of resilience and hope truly give us all courage, especially during times when we face different challenges in life. Thank you as well for your trust and for continuing to share these conversations. I'm always here to support you and share knowledge that I hope will be valuable for you and your audience. Take care, and may your inspiration continue to guide you at every step. God bless you always, and let's meet again in our next meaningful conversation. Have a wonderful day, filled with joy and hope.